Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 17th episode of the Labiotech Hangout. So this month we have the co-founder of Agrosustain here. Hi, Olga.
Hello.
So Agrosustain, and glad you're here, and it worked out technically. It's great. So
thank you for inviting.
Quick words about Agrosustain. So you're a startup based in Nyon, so between Geneva and Lausanne.
Exactly.
And you're developing a natural solution to prevent the development of molds on crop or harvested food. And so you were founded in 2018, and you raised a round of 1 million euros end of 2018. And first, it's really good to have a non-therapeutics biotech here in the Hangout. We had a few, but not that many in agro, as I can tell. And it's good to see that there's innovation in the space, and sounds like you have a really interesting story to tell. So can you maybe start with your story on how you got started on the idea and how you got until where you are today?
So the idea was actually coming, I think, from much long before, because I was always very much interested about agriculture. Like my parents had quite a big garden, so I always enjoyed working there. And then when I had an opportunity to select my PhD at the University of Lausanne, it was also related to plants. So after a few years of my PhD research, I realized that what really motivates me is to work on applied research, where you can really know that you can develop some things that can be used by farmers or someone else within the food chain, and that can bring additional value to people. So at the very end of my PhD, I attended the first entrepreneurial courses, which were very much inspirational. And I think that was exactly how the whole story started to appear in my mind. Yeah. And then I was very lucky that I found the first antifungal compound at the end of my PhD thesis. And that was the really basis of Agrosustain.
Nice. And I guess that's also why you have so many plants in your office behind you.
We have more that you don't see.
Very nice. We have, our mascot is also a plant, so that's great to see. But that's really cool. And can you tell more about maybe start with the problem you're trying to solve? I mean, mold protection. It's we see it every day, and we see we have to waste food or throw away foods, or so. Like, how big is the problem, and how can you solve it with your product?
Well, like you said, you see it every day, meaning that the problem is pretty big already, right? Yeah. If we calculate it in numbers, we know that it's around $60 billion that we are losing every year because of the losses in the post-harvest, meaning that everything that would be collected from the farmland and before it's reaching us as the end consumer. And we know that molds are everywhere, so it's something that is very hard to control. And right now, within the value chain, usually, before the field collection, you would apply some chemical pesticides in some countries where it's allowed, and that will allow you to have a longer storage of your fruits by not letting them to be rotten. But in the other countries, let's say like Switzerland or Germany, people are much more driven for high quality food. And right now our demand is actually to reduce application of chemical pesticides. And that's why we need to find alternative solutions to reduce food wastage. And I think that's why solution of Agrosustain is very much in line with these policies.
That makes sense. So on your solution, so I guess it's a mix of molecules, or it's like a solution you can spray on top of the food. Like, can you go a bit more in detail?
Sure. So the solution itself is, we found it in plant, very broadly present plant actually, and then we were able to identify why this plant was so resistant to molds on its own. So we found two active ingredients that was leading and giving the core of our product. And the way we're applying it, it can be done on 3 different ways. The first one by spraying, for example. When the oranges or apples are being sorted after the washes, they would have a mini spray application, and that's exactly the part where we would add our solution.
Yep.
For bananas or bigger crops, like let's say pineapples, we can dip it directly into the water with our solution in there before packaging. And for the fast perishable crops such as berries, we have patented technologies that work a bit like a vapor. They would apply our solution, but it doesn't make the berries very humid. And like this, the solution is there, the berries are not humid, and it's going to last longer.
And how much difference does it make compared to?
I mean, we saw that the efficiency of our product is at this stage seems to be equal to chemical pesticides.
Okay.
So we can really compete on the efficacy rate, and it's more which additional value we are providing.
Okay, and because you source it naturally, I mean, source it naturally doesn't mean it's safe or it's not chemically. So like, what does it make it differently?
So what we know about sources naturally, that about our active ingredients in particular, is that they are already used in some countries as a food additives actually, and they were shown to have cancer preventive properties that I guess could be quite interesting for us. Now we are doing toxicity studies that are required in order to register any biological or chemical fungicide in order to put it on the market. And the first test showed very promising results. So now we are launching, I'm a bit sick, the next set of tests in the coming months.
Okay, that's cool. And so that sounds good. And you said in the next month, so what's the timeline? What does it look like? Or what's the stage you're at right now? Like, are you already like testing it with some manufacturers, or like you're waiting for these toxicity studies first?
So first, right now, we are waiting for the pool of tests, which are called acute studies. And they will help us to tell to people in the storage facilities, for example, how they should apply the product, if they should wear gloves, or if they should wear protective glasses, for example. Once these tests are done, by the end of August, we will be able to launch the first pilot trials with our partners in their storage facilities.
Oh, that sounds good. And my question, more like overall, the question also, like, let's say your product in 2 or 3 years is on the market, like how much of an impact can it have on food waste in total? Like what's your estimation, or you guess?
I mean, we cannot unfortunately cover all the fruits within the next 2 to 3 years. We're going to start slowly by first doing market validation in selected countries by applying product, for example, on most transported crops, such as banana, avocado, and pineapple. And then we would like to ship to the most stored crops, like potatoes, for example, which we are storing for half a year, and we are losing around 25 to 55% of those, or carrots, which would be similar. And then afterwards move to the fast perishable crops such berries, where the losses are even more higher because of the molds.
Okay, makes sense. And so, I guess, I mean, from the market access must be really really a challenge. Like, how do you justify the cost of your product, and you show that you have you're saving crops, quantity of crops that compensate the price. So that's also your plan for market access?
Yes, so that's the reason why first we're doing pilot trials with our potential clients, so they can themselves evaluate the efficacy of the product and then decide on their own behalf, do they want to continue with us working further or not.
Okay. Good. Okay, makes sense. Because I guess, I mean, if you look at the bigger picture on food waste, it's also kind of the problem is that it's cheaper to produce more than to waste less. I don't know if it's fine to say that,
but we also know that the population is growing every year quite a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not a problem of today, but more of tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And in terms of fundraising, I mean, who did you raise from, and how easy or how hard was it?
You want the names?
What you have publicly on it?
So for the first seed round, it was more our close network of people that we would meet during different startup events or some entrepreneurial courses. It was also some network of friends and not family though. And some professional business angels whom we met along the way.
Yeah. Okay. And so, the 1 million was what you planned, and gives you, I guess, 18 to 24 months runway, I guess, something like this.
It depends what we want to do, right? So right now we are doing already the next financial round to be able to finalize the product certification by the end of next year and to deposit out this year for registration in Europe and in US.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. And I was curious also on when you, I mean, in agro, you have a lot of like really big companies and big like, chemical companies, and how do you like fit with them or talk with them or interact with them? Like, I'm curious on that.
I mean, we definitely know they exist. I don't think they know we are existing yet.
Maybe after that interview.
Maybe. No, but the ones we spoke to, they showed quite a strong interest actually, because they were saying that indeed our solution could be complementary to theirs, or it could be something that they would like to have in their portfolio as well.
Okay. Can you expand a bit more like on are they, I don't know, like, I mean, some of them are already like investing in startups or working with startups, or like, is it something like you're also, I mean, on your side, is it something you're interested in as well?
Usually, I think the interest is coming a bit later on. Once you would de-risk your company a bit more, I guess we're a bit too early. However, for a few companies with whom we were in discussion, they would be, at this stage, they're more interested in testing the efficacy of our product in order to go to the next steps.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. And on the team, like how many are you, and what's the type of profiles you have?
So right now we are 9 people.
Yeah.
We have 4 people active in business development, market validation, sales funnel development, and etc. And we have 4 people working on R&D development fully. So strengthening our current product, doing some additional testings and developing the next pipeline, because what you want to do in future is to access the farmlands and to give product to farmers as an application. And for this, we will need to have a rotation of the products and not only one. Otherwise, fungi will adapt very fast.
Yeah, it must be tricky as well on focusing and finding the first application. I mean, it sounds like you have a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, fungi everywhere. That was indeed challenging.
But how do you decide really on, like, why did you decide on this first niche you told me on?
That was not the first one, actually. We tried a few other strategies before, but you had very nice coaches in the beginning who were giving us quite a strong feedback. And thanks to their feedback, we were able, I think, to narrow it down to the market, which seemed a bit like a niche market with not such a huge competition, for example. It's something that you put in the fields first, but still there's a very interesting opportunities.
Yeah, that's all. And maybe you can expand on, like, I mean, on your website, you say you're the only solutions, which means that maybe the other ones are like the only natural solution. I'm wondering, like, why is there no solution, or why others haven't developed it, or why have the chemical providers not switched to more natural solution? Like, what's
so we are saying that we are unique, efficient natural solution. It's slightly different. Because right now we can find a few products that would be available already in the post-harvest market that would be biologicals, but the efficiency of this product was not shown to be extremely on the same level, let's say, as chemical pesticides.
Okay.
And I think because of that, people cannot yet switch to the fully natural solutions because there is just not enough present on the market.
Okay, so it's really an efficiency problem at the end.
I think so, because the less efficient it is, the more you lose.
Yeah, and the less the cost, the less you save cost, and at the end,
exactly.
First it. Okay, now this sounds good. And maybe you can like talk about yourself on, like, you said you had the entrepreneurial classes at uni doing your PhD, and that was very inspirational. Can you expand a bit more, like, on, do you, like, when you study your PhD, did you already have an idea of, like, or were you already entrepreneurial before, or was really these talks who gave you the motivation, inspiration?
I think you should have something deep inside you already from the past. And I guess these courses just helped me to basically understand what I really want to do in the future by providing me some essential first knowledge, how to launch the company and how to develop business, at least in the very first steps. And that was really helpful. But I think what matters the first is to have a vision and passion to do something you believe in.
I definitely agree. Yeah. And And can you also explain a bit more, like, I mean, you're a really scientific background, so how did you compose your team or your advisors, or like how did you get the additional knowledge to like really build it?
So in the beginning, it was mainly advisors. So we tried always to collaborate with people. I mean, I have, for example, we have a Paola Giuliani, who is our inner Swiss coach, and she is the ex-CEO of Max Havelaar. So, you know, when you talk to people who were leading really big companies, it gives you a lot of valuable feedback, and you basically learn on the examples quite often. And Paola is just one of the examples. I mean, if you check on our website, we have, I think, a really great sounding and advisory board. So you can learn from all these people.
That's good. That's good. I definitely agree with that as well. I mean, we have a group of mentors who helped us a lot. I think it's super important. And your co-founders, I mean, so you have two other co-founders. So can you like tell more about the story of them, and like how complementary you are?
So after I found the compounds and I got a few additional grants in order to do proof of concept, I went to the first competition in Switzerland, which was called Venture Kick. And after the first feedback, they told me, hey, you cannot run a company alone. It's nice if you can find people who will have complementary experiences to you. So, I mean, I really evaluated the feedback because it was like so straight to the point and so honest. I was like, all right, if I want to go further to the next round, I should really improve something. And then I was like, okay, so I need someone whom I would probably not know yet because I didn't really know many people in business development, but someone I could also trust. I mean, because the first steps are very stressful sometimes, and you really need someone whom you can totally rely on. So first I took my husband, as he was a biologist, but he was also working in consultancy, Olga Dubey. And what is really nice about him, he was already running a group in the University of Lausanne before. So as a real CTO, he would probably be the best person to run any laboratory. Now for business development, we invited Jean-Pascal Haribo, who was back then working for Nestlé. And he helped us by developing the first business plan, to defining the best strategies, and etc.
Okay.
And we started working together in September 2017, and then we created the company.
That's really cool. Yeah. It must be challenging to work with your husband. Huh?
No, it's fine.
No, it must be. Yeah. That's good. I mean, I think you can. I mean, definitely someone you can trust 100%. So if it works well,
sure.
it's a good thing.
I think it all depends how you structure your private life afterwards.
Yeah, sounds like you managed it well. I mean, it's been already.
So far, I cannot complain.
That's good. Yeah, last question is more on your next step as a company. Like, you mentioned going in the like finishing the toxicity test. Maybe you can explain a bit like what's the 3 next steps you have by the end of the year.
So by the end of the year, we are planning to finalize these acute studies that I was telling you before, and then also to do the first subchronic studies, showing how efficient our product. I mean, if our product has any negative toxicity impact on the animals. And based on this, we will evaluate the next steps for the essential for the product registration. In addition to conducting the first pilot trials with our current partners to show the real efficacy of the product in real life conditions.
That sounds like busy times ahead.
Oh yeah, startups are always busy.
Definitely. No, that's great. No, that's very good. And I have a last question, which I ask every time, is who we should interview next. Someone, a young founder in the biotech space, not only in Switzerland, in young European biotech founder.
I know so many, but I think I know. I think you never interviewed Retinal?
No.
So I would recommend you them.
That's good.
I think they have really great story to tell.
That's cool. That's cool. Then I will check them out.
I can send you the link afterwards.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that. And and again, really cool story. And I wish you best of luck with all the development.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Olga. Bye bye.
Thank you. Ta-ta.